Whew, here we go. Let me begin by first saying that I chose to watch this movie on my birthday. To those of you who have already seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Also, the theater light next to me was flickering the whole time, which only added to the wonderful experience. Anyway, Longlegs is a horror film directed and written by Osgood Perkins starring Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage. If you're here, then I assume that you've at least seen the trailer and have already gotten a sense of what the film's story is. If not, allow me to read the official description provided on IMDb. In pursuit of a serial killer, an FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues that she must solve to end his terrifying killing spree. I chose to read the posted summary because a lot of the enjoyment that I got from watching Longlegs came from me knowing very little about what I was headed into. There were numerous elements of the movie that were kept hidden from the expert marketing, and I think it improves the viewing experience. I do want to give huge props for the marketing, as it did its job spectacularly well. It got me extremely excited for the film without giving me all the story details, which is a rarity these days. However, it's a double-edged sword. The advertisements, coupled with a wave of early reactions, had me bracing for the most evil thing ever conceived in the history of mankind. I was hearing that people were quite literally vomiting and passing out in the early screenings. Which, by the way, I hear for a lot of newer horror movies these days. Wouldn't it be funny if it was just the same guy showing up to all these screenings and throwing up? I don't know. That's immediately where my mind instantly goes. Anyway, let me make one thing abundantly clear. No, this is not the scariest movie of all time. What it is, however, is an exceptionally crafted horror thriller that had me and the packed crowd around me absolutely enraptured. Micah Monroe is our lead, and I've been a huge fan of her since watching her previous flicks. By the way, you should totally check out The Guest because it's super underrated, and she's great in it. And she's, of course, fantastic in this. Right up front, it's clear that she's giving a very specific performance. Some of those secret elements I mentioned at the start of this review involve her character directly. And in the first act, it's clear that there's something off regarding her. This will no doubt present a bit of a challenging viewing for some people. As she is her point of view, you feel a tad lost. It helps to build the horror experience, however, it also presents a roadblock if you're trying to connect to the character emotionally. I am curious how her arc will hold up upon future viewings. I can already tell that Longlegs will be an annual Halloween staple. It's the perfect amount of terror. Oh, and speaking of terror, yes, everything you've heard about Nicolas Cage's performance is 100% accurate. Every time he's on screen, I felt as if there was an evil presence apparent that I shouldn't be looking at. Longlegs does a great job of utilizing him sparingly, maximizing the evil factor with the screen time he's given. Even when he's not physically there, he is present. It's such a well-executed element that got under my skin. And if I had to say what my favorite part of Longlegs was, it was just that. The movie gets under your skin. I was hanging on to every well-executed shot, infected with an unsettling vibe that something just felt off. You can tell that things are out of sorts, and that feeling persists long after the film's conclusion. I normally take some time to jot down some notes in my car after watching a movie, but this time I hauled ass to get home, because I wanted to get some level of comfort. You know you did your job well as a director if the horror movie you made can have that effect on an audience. Osgood Perkins knocked that element out of the freaking park here. Admittedly, I haven't seen a lot of his previous projects, but I am so looking forward to his work to come. You can tell that he took a lot of inspiration from a load of sources. Zodiac and Silence of the Lambs are the most notable ones, but I also got a lot of David Lynch and Alan Wake 2 vibes. I say this not as a negative, of course. The film wears these inspirations on its sleeve, and it mixes them into this evil, creepy, dark smoothie. Would I drink that smoothie? No, but I will watch the heck out of it. When it comes to notable issues I had with Longlegs, I already mentioned how there was a bit of difficulty connecting with the protagonist. Again, that might improve with future viewings, but I can totally see how it might turn some people off. The same can be said with the score by Ziegler, which I found hit or miss. There were times where I felt that the music matched the viewing experience to a T, and other times where I found it distracting. And the movie actually clocked in at a much shorter running time than I was expecting, coming in at around 2 hours. Longlegs is separated by 3 distinct chapters, and not once did I ever feel that the pacing was too rushed or too slow. I honestly would have been okay if it went on for another 10 minutes, if only to help flesh out its themes just a tiny bit more. But on the whole, I found this to be a great horror experience, which is pretty cool because 2024 is shaping up to be a great year for the genre. The theater I saw it in was absolutely packed, so I already know that the marketing is doing its job well. Longlegs is going to kill it at the box office this weekend. No pun intended, of course. Just don't go in expecting the definitive horror masterpiece that you might have heard it was. Go in expecting a phenomenally creepy thriller that you won't be soon forgetting. I know I sure won't be. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go to bed. With all the lights turned on, of course. I'm going to give Longlegs a B+.